Oh, that's okay. All Healy's are D's. Okay. And then the Healy deduction chart is a little different. That's the same as it has been. Notice if you're at horizontal, you finish the term at horizontal, that's the 2/10 deduction. And, yeah, we will see that, yeah. And the Stalters are new. All of the Stalters are D's, with or without handstand, forward or backward, and then if they have a fold, they're an E. Unfortunately, we don't have any videos of those, but hopefully we'll be seeing more of them. That's okay. That's what we are. Okay, just a couple things. Remember that the new equipment, if they're going to use a board under a piece of wood under the springboard, it has to be 1/2-inch plywood, and both sides must have non-skid surface. This is new, so you're going to, when you first meet, you go through the season. Some gyms may not have that, but if they're going to use a board under the springboard, it must be 1/2-inch plywood. I've had some that were 3/4 or 1-inch plywood, and it has to have the non-skid surface. So double check those when you, especially like I said, the first couple meets of the season. Falls, remember it's a 5/10 spot if the coach touches the gymnast. It's also a 5/10 spot if the coach inadvertently touches the gymnast. If the gymnast inadvertently touches the coach, that's no deduction. Also, don't forget. You didn't do. Just, you know what? Watch the coach's faces. That's how you can tell. Yeah, I didn't do it. Hey, also make sure that we're still watching for touches and hits of the feet on the floor. A touch or a brush on the mat is 1/10. A hit would be 3/10, and then if you felt they pushed off, it would be 5. It's not as easy to hear as it is in maybe an 8th grade meet because it's usually a little bit louder. Also, a touch or brush on the apparatus could be up to 1. And a hit on the apparatus is a flat 2/10. That's non-negotiable. That's 2/10. And I always think if they hit their feet, you're probably going to lose your bonus because that's probably not your only error is hitting your feet. So you have to look at those really closely, carefully. Right? Thank you. Oh, forget about that. Okay, we've got some clips to show you here, and then we have some full routines if we get that far. Yes. No silly questions. There has to be a non-skid surface on the board. So probably, I'm thinking what they're going to do. In the past, they've had little strips on the bottom of the board. Now they have to have those on both sides.
But of the vaulting board or the plywood?
The plywood. If they're going to use the plywood underneath the board, they have to have non-skid on both sides. Does one of the coaches know why they said that? The board slipped out? Okay. Good. I never saw that much. I don't know if you could hear her, but she said there were some gymnasts that were doing a front tuck mount onto the beam, and they'd hit the board so hard the springboard itself would slide. Because a lot of them, they had the non-skid surface on the bottom of the board, but they didn't have it on the top. Not the springboard, plywood. Okay. Any other questions? Since there really wasn't much new, we didn't think we had to read much to you. Okay. Go ahead. Here's some music.
Coming out my computer that you can't really hear it.
Neil, are you going to speak up?
I am moving towards.
Okay. Let me show you how to do slow motion. We got technical difficulties here.
Okay, can I speak to the elements?
Yeah.
Our first skill, a fairly well done reverse act. Reverse act should have 2 components. It should have height, but it should also have rotation. That particular skill, and when we go through all these things, an athlete has X amount of energy that they've created on the downswing of bars. to use in one way or another. This athlete did a great job using the energy to elevate. I think she could have turned over a little bit more. Okay, but she has adequate height and maybe not quite a bit of rotation. I mean, extremely critical. But when I see a great reverse hack, it has both components. It catches high and it catches turned over with the feet extending back towards the logo. So when we watch this young lady, she bends her arms and take off a little bit. That's part of why she doesn't turn over. See how she's coming kind of straight down right here? And I think that happened because she pulled a little. She bent her elbows a little bit, and it might have been related to the way she swung down in her downswing dynamics. Okay, so pretty good reverse hack, a little too up and down, didn't quite turn over. Let's go on. And I thought the counter swing would straddle back, and this is something I like to see. Her legs closed very late. She actually had support, and then her legs closed. I thought her legs could have closed a little earlier. And one of the things I look for on low bar, high to low bar transitions is that, we're going to find out, she's still straddled, she's still straddled, she's in a straddle. Okay, now, you know, ideally, you arrive and legs come together at the same time. This is very refined and being extremely critical. Okay, not too many kids can do that. One of the things I look for when the kid hits low bar is because there's one of these, and that means that she was very upright, up and down on the landing on the bar on either a shoot over or a straddle back. When they land on the low, you'll see the bar depress. And that means she was you could almost guess that the kid was vertical.
And is it still true that you do not count the angle of handstand until her feet are together?
As in straddle up. So for me, I would have just given this a B and said it's really nice. A nice B. And hopefully she didn't need it for her C release or. Okay.
But overall, the sequence is pretty darn nice. That's right. You know, one thing I want to do real quick is a
See
kind
what
of
the regular speed and what Neil just said.
I want to have a little disclaimer and say that
It was very quick.
it's quick.
And we're sitting right on the side, you might have been able to see it really well. You know, and plus we're looking kind of down at it, so like you see when you're there, you see different.
I thought she was in a, looking with the naked eye, I thought she was in a handstand. I just think her legs closed a little bit, but I just didn't think she was quite there. And the reverse hack again, a little more turnover, but nice height. Nice clean lines, very steady. Like I said, I'm coming from a very critical standpoint. I certainly am not here. I want to be safe, not these athletes are great athletes. They're awesome, and I'm being very critical. You know, I've got a critical eye, so know that these guys are something special. Pretty much everything we see. So. Okay, on most every upright,
Regular speed.
which is in, I'm glad you stopped right there. All right, let's stop. Let's go back. I'll tell you a good thing to look at uprights. When you're swinging uprights, one of the things that's got to happen, that's good, let's stop right there. One of the things that's got to happen is the athlete has to shorten her body. They created a big width in their swing at the beginning. And then to make the uprise, they have to shorten their body either by straddling, acceptable technique, piking, acceptable technique, chest out, arched end pike, maybe not. You know, I call it the swoop, there it is. Where you see that low back archy looking thing and it looks like a horse that someone big fat guy's been riding for a long time. You don't like to see that. Another way that kids do it is they bend their arms. It's very common on an uprise. They'll cheat and bend their arms, and this kid does this very effectively, and with the naked eye it's hard to see. But she shortened her body by straddling. She's in a pretty good shape when it comes to bent arms. They were there just for a second, and look, there's the swoop, there it is. Okay, but not bad. I mean, but it was there.
For the naked eye.
She finishes right on top, and actually has something unique. Her hips are open. Now,